Malka, let's now talk about what's going on in Gaza.
Okay.
I have used the term called Liberation Nation, in which Israel is really supposed to help clean out the evil and enslaving entities and ideas that are on our inside our borders and on our borders. There are energies that want to suppress the nations around us and to keep them in a backward state, in a hating state. And then people at the top profit from that, but people at the bottom suffer. Gaza has not been cleaned out from the oppressive haters. It continues to have evil men with arms that suppress the lives of the Gazans. Israel did not finish the job, not even close. But now new footage has emerged from Channel 11 about real life in Gaza right now. And I would like to watch that with you to get a sense of what's going on down there. I think you yourself are going to be surprised at some of this footage as well.
Okay.
Right? So let's watch Channel 11's secret reporting of the life of Gaza currently.
إلى قناة كام والإعلامية المميزة أنستازيا من وسط قطاع غزة من
Okay, so Channel 11 got a so-called Palestinian Arab living in Gaza to put on a camera and to report from their kind of underground reporting about what's going on. Obviously, his voice is masked. We also have translations from All Israel News, so you can follow along if you're watching.
כך נראית רצועת עזה דרך מצלמת כאן חדשות, שבועיים לאחר המעבר לשלב ב'.
Okay, so 2 weeks after phase 2, look at the place. It looks like a wreck, a total wreckage.
أحلى الشوارع في قطاع غزة أصبح مدمر ومن أسوأ الشوارع في غزة. هذا الدمار اللي جاب لنا إياه.
They're showing us destroyed streets right now.
Right. Well, it says that this was one of the most beautiful of the streets in Gaza. Now it's destroyed. But listen to what he says. He says, this is the destruction that Sinwar and Mohammed Def brought upon us on October 7th. You know, they started this war. Now this is what it looks like.
בשטח לא הרבה השתנה. ההרס הוא אותו.
Just so if you don't understand, there's an Arabic language speaker guy, and then there's also the Israeli news that's covering this in Hebrew.
הרס, חמאס עדיין שולט. ועדת הטכנוקרטים עוד לא באמת נכנסה לתמונה.
هذا أكبر تجمع قيام.
Okay, so the phase 2 hasn't actually happened yet, and we're still dealing with this situation where there's concentration of tents and displaced people in Deir el-Bala. You see that?
دير البلح اسمه مخيم ست أميرة.
מבין המראות האלה מגיחים קולות לא שגרתיים. אחד מהם הוא קולו של חאלד, תושב מרכז הרצועה שתיעד עבורנו איך זה נראה באמת מבפנים.
من بحر غزة البحر اللي كان متنفس الجميع أصبح عبارة عن مكب للنفايات.
See, they're looking at the sea, and it's filled with sewage water into the ocean. And that, by the way, we swim in that ocean just a little bit to the north.
الصرف الصحي للأسف حماس كانت أسوأ فترة وأسوأ حقبة في تاريخ القضية الفلسطينية وبيأخذوا من الدين الإسلامي عباءة وستار لتخفي جرائمهم وتخفي.
So he's saying this guy is saying that Hamas uses religion to conceal theft and crime and trying to basically have power over average people.
في سرقاتهم وأفعالهم الشنيعة والقذرة والنجسة. وبعد 18 سنة من الحكم الجائر والظلم والقتل انتهى المطاف إنه يعملوا أوسخ وأبشع عمل ممكن إنه هو سنة من أكتوبر.
All right, so they for the last 18 years they're in control there, and they've shot the people, they've stolen their money, and the most dastardly act, according to this Arab in Gaza, is October 7th.
אף סימני השאלה לגבי ניהול הרצועה על ידי ועדת הטכנוקרטים והעתיד המעורפל בעבור חאלד ועזתים אחרים זה מספיק כדי להאחז בתקווה שהדבר יוביל לשינוי.
الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة عانى الويلات ولعله يرى بارقة أمل في آخر النفق المظلم بوجود تشكيل لجنة الطبقات.
So they're hoping that this Board of Peace technocratic committee will somehow better their life out in Gaza, right? Now, of course, the average Gazan that wants what this guy wants, what Khalid wants, wanted Israel to take control. But that didn't happen. We didn't do that. Instead, we're going to, sit around waiting for these technocrats of other Arab countries. And now we're talking about Indonesian troops. So this is what they're thinking is going to solve the problems. It's not.
ولكن للأسف لجنة النقاط مقيدة مش قادرة تعمل إشي ولحد الآن إحنا ما شفناش أي حاجة على أرض الواقع ولا حكوا لنا ولا وضحوا للناس شو البرنامج تبعهم شو خططهم شو مسؤولياتهم شو اللي بدهم يعملوه شو اللي ما بيقدروا يعملوه. أنا وآلاف ومئات الآلاف من شعبنا أو كل شعب غزة ينتظر لجنة النقاط بفارغ الصبر يريدون أي تغيير. يعني إحنا الناس بدها أي تغيير أي تغيير.
אבל חמאס לא באמת הולך לשום מקום. בשטח הוא ממשיך לפעול.
All right, so take a look at these guys. Malka, is your sound coming through your earphones or is
I hear.
Because it's reverberating somehow through the mic a little bit. In any case, right now, if you look at this image, you'll see that Hamas is still in control, and this guy's waiting for the technocrat committee to come in and take over. But actually, who's in control is Hamas. Here's the footage of Hamas in control there.
כדי לבסס את שליטתו.
Look at this.
وتبقى إسرائيل هي عدوتنا الوحيد.
Now watch this. This was this week. Malka. This is Khalid Mashal. Khalid Mashal was speaking this week. This guy's the head of Hamas. He's still alive. He's got the nice beard. He's got the nice beard trim. I like that beard trim. That's a good job there. This evil man is still out there. And here's what he says. He says, Israel remains our only enemy, and with Allah's help, we will defeat it. This guy's still alive. This Hamas mastermind is still alive.
Also, like, this is disgusting, right? It's like, let's talk for a second like we are going to see what's going on in Gaza objectively, right? Objectively, there are people in Gaza who are living life in tents. You can see, whether that's something that came to them as a result of their actions and their support for terror is something else. And that's a discussion we could certainly have. But let's just skip that for a second and talk about the fact that there are people living in tents. There are people still getting humanitarian aid as their like regular food supply. And what does Mashal have to talk about? He has to talk about how we're going to keep fighting Israel and we're going to destroy them. That remains the number one goal. So it's really disgusting on all the levels that Hamas maintains power in Gaza, because it should be enough for me that he wants to destroy Israel. Everybody else's welfare, like you could say, is secondary to me. The welfare of the Jewish people and the fact that we continue to have this enemy in Gaza that's just like waiting to rearm and using humanitarian aid to sell, to get arms and still maintains some semblance of tunnels and et cetera, still has a relationship with Iran that hasn't been broken off. That's enough. But then if you want to tell me that you're a person who doesn't put Israel first and you're like a big fat humanitarian, then how is it possible that you could support these horrible people who do absolutely nothing except for fight Israel? They do nothing for the people in Gaza. They only weaponize them against the Jewish people.
The only thing that bothers me is that as I'm watching this news report is that Khalid Mashal should be dead and Israel should be in control of Gaza.
Well, if you recall, Yishai, we tried to kill him in Qatar. There was a botched mission to kill him and a bunch of other people, and then it led to a whole like little debacle with the United States, and then the United States signed some kind of memorandum of understanding with Qatar that said that if anyone ever attacks Qatar again, it's like they attack the United States again. And then we commented even on this show that even Israel doesn't have an agreement like that with the United States, where like you attack Israel, it's like you attack the United States. So yeah, that was one of the big fails of our war, is that we did not succeed in that mission.
Certainly that is a, to see these guys alive and to see them in control of Gaza is a failure. And then to see that they're hoping that that this technocratic board is going to control their lives, that makes me sad. Let's get back to Khalid Mashal and see what he's saying.
إن شاء الله سنهزمها ولعل منتدى جديد قادم إن شاء الله نشهده وإسرائيل حرة بإذن الله تعالى.
See, he wants to see Israel liberated.
That's it. That's what we see, right? At the next conference, we'll see that there's no more Israel. Whatever happens to those people in Gaza, I don't know. I don't care. But
why is he so damn smug? Why is he still alive? I don't get it. Why is he so smug? Why
are people clapping for him? I don't know.
Well, because he's at a conference of bad guys. So that's what happens. I think it's an Al Jazeera forum. That's what it is. It's an Al Jazeera. It's literally Al Jazeera being like hosting this guy, and they're like, yes, next year we will have no Israel. Everybody's like, that's what he means by liberated, by the way. He means, Israel gone.
Right. And that's their goal for the year.
هناك الكثير من الأصوات في حماس داخل حماس في قطاع غزة ترفض تسليم الحكم للجنة التكنوقراط، لأنه عارفة هي إنه لو تركت الحكم حماس سيتم سحلهم وقتلهم في الشوارع، لأنها خلقت خلال 18 سنة الكثير من الثارات بينها وبين الشعب الغزي. حماس قامت بقتل العديد من الأشخاص ظلما وجورا في قطاع غزة، والكثير منهم ينتظر سقوط حماس حتى يأخذ بطائرة.
So basically, Hamas can't give up power right now, because if they give up power, they will be those people who were like now ex-Hamas will all be killed by the regular Gazans because of the years of torture that Hamas has brought on the average people there. So now this is not to say that so many average people were not part of the October 7th massacre and that are not part of jihadism. There's a ton, maybe the vast majority of Gazans who were pro-Hamas and pro-destroying Israel. But there are, according to Khalid, a lot of them who are like, I hate Hamas. Hamas has only done evil to us. And if they ever, get rid of their guns, they'll all be killed by the average citizenry.
חשוב לומר שקולו של חאלד שבעבר נעצר הוכה ועונה בידי אנשי חמאס לא בהכרח מייצג את רוב תושבי הרצועה.
אנחנו مع المقاومة بروحنا وبدمنا لقدمنا أولادنا ودورنا تهدمت ولكن إحنا معهم لآخر نفس.
Okay, so they just played exactly what I was saying. They played a lady who was like, I'm Hamas all the way. I've given up my house and my family, my children, and I'm going to do it to the last man standing. She wants to kill Israel. She wants to destroy Israel.
I believe her.
Yeah. So as you can see on the screen, there are Gazans who still support the murderous terrorist organization of Hamas.
עזתים שעדיין תומכים בארגון הטרור הרצחני למרות נזקי המלחמה. רובם לא היו מסכימים להתראיין בכלי תקשורת ישראלי גם בעילום שם. בעזה אין באמת תקשורת חופשית, וקולות שמתנגדים לחמאס בפומבי הם עדיין מצרך נדיר.
Okay, so far they've shown us what we've expected to see, a lot of destruction in Gaza, and now we're going to see a different side of it.
השוק ברצועת עזה פועל בימים אלה כאילו כלום לא קרה. מאז סיום המלחמה נדמה שהמחירים לא מפסיקים לרדת, ובשווקים אפשר למצוא בקלות מוצרים ישראלים ואפילו מוצרי עוף ובשר, דבר שנחשב חלום רחוק במהלך המלחמה.
والكيوي والافوكادو البقى من المخية هذه. الوضع هالقد افضل بكثير من خلال الحرب، لكن هي تعتبر لسه غالية مقارنة فيما قبل الحرب، والمشكلة انه الناس ما عندها شغل حتى الان على الطرود الغذائية والمساعدات.
Okay, so the rich people are still rich. The average person still needs a human aid card, like a human rights card. But there is everything. You could get avocado, you could get kiwi in the Gaza Strip. But there is one thing that they don't have is jobs, right? Jobs used to come through Israel, and there are no jobs in Israel these days.
דברים בסיסיים, את הרשתות החברתיות ממלאים בימים האחרונים תיעודים של מסעדות חדשות ודוכני שווארמה. תיעודים שמעלים הרבה תהיות בשל הנתונים שפורסמו על רעב ומחסור ברצועה. חאלד מספר לנו מתוך האוהל שבו הוא מתגורר, שמדובר במותרות שהעזתי הממוצע לדבריו לא יכול להרשות לעצמו.
وللأسف بعض المتخلفين والجاهلين والجهلة في قطاع غزة بيظهروا إنه غزة بتعيش فترات جيدة جدا 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 ومحلات مليئة بالبضائع والهواتف والسيارات، لكن للأسف هذه فئة قليلة جدا.
Look at that picture, Maka. Look at that image of such a large swath of destroyed Gaza. Again, here, as I look at it, I say to myself, okay, Israel, you've destroyed a large part of Gazan residential ability. Okay, now it's time to take control of it. Now it's time to beautify it. Now it's time to clean it for Israel's sake, just as much as for any Arabs that will be allowed to stay to live in Gaza, under an Israeli control. Like when I see this, I see the land of Israel hostage, dirtied, sullied, and that breaks my heart. I want to see the land of Israel beautified, successful. I want to see this beachfront property developed. And to see this is it's heartbreaking, especially given that Israel is not planning on holding on to this land and beautifying and taking it over.
في غزة يعني لحتى اللحظة هذه وأنا قاعد في خيمة.
مساء الخير يا أستاذ زياء، هذا اليوم توزيع المية في مخيمة النازح. هذا اليوم توزيع في التكية في مخيمة النازح.
وللأسف بعد ما خلصت الدراسة الجامعية ما تحصلتش على وظيفة مثل مئات الآلاف من قطاع غزة، والمصيبة إنه كانت حماس بتقوم بعمل تصنيفات.
Now, why aren't all these people recognized refugees somewhere else?
This is a source of pain for me. I'll tell you honestly, Yishai. I think that it's horrific. I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. I think that the first thing that Israel should have done on October 8th, after it had essentially secured the kibbutzim again, was to bomb a mile of the Rafah crossing and make it so that the Gazans could just flow out of there. The situation is so sick. Even with the feelings that I have about Gazans and what they did to us, the fact that the world with all of its sympathy for Gazans has not opened its doors and taken in minimally women, children, elderly, something. They take in nobody. Nobody gets out of there. And I find that to be so cynical and so gross. In every global conflict, refugees come out of a country and go somewhere else. Certainly in Syria, the Syrian refugees just flowed out of there during the Syrian civil war. It could be that because the refugees flowed out of Syria during the Syrian civil war, that there was everybody clamped down on their borders because everyone felt themselves, all the European countries felt themselves to be overrun suddenly by Syrians, people who weren't always so successful in integrating also into the various European countries. So maybe that's why, but I am incredulous by this, that the world talks about how horrible it is that the Gazans are suffering and it's so bad and Israel's so evil and there's a genocide and how could they be killing them? And yet they're providing zero options and zero real answers for these people.
إن الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة ولقطاع غزة والغزيين على خلفية عائلته، بحيث إنه هل عائلته معادية لحماس، كارهة لحماس، أو محبة وداعمة لحماس. حماس لم تقم بعمل أي مشروع يناسب ويخدم الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة. لم تقم بفتح عيادة، ولم تقم بفتح مدرسة، لم تقم بإنشاء شارع.
בישראל בעקבות טבח 7 באוקטובר לא מוכנים לשמוע על פועלים מעזה, אבל ברצועה מייחלים לזה כבר עכשיו.
Okay, so Gazans are not being allowed to enter Israel to work. They have no work permits. And in general, this is a very fascinating thing that's been happening since October 7th. There is a great reduction in the interest of having Arabs work everywhere in Israel, from Judea and Samaria, from regular Israel, from Gaza. There is a lot of success that's happening right now with Indian workers, Chinese workers, workers from abroad, Sri Lankans. and Arabs are being squeezed out because of their jihadist alliance. And people just don't want to endanger themselves. And we don't want, like, you know, there's some work sites you have Arabs working and they basically close them with like iron fencing. And then they also build guard towers just to make sure that these guys don't terrorize us.
Right. And you have to have a certain number of guards, and the guards have to be trained, and they have to have certain weapons, and you have to have a certain number of guards for a certain number of people. Yeah, this is a very big issue. And when you step back and think about it, it's pretty crazy that we live in a situation in which you are hiring people who want you to die,
right,
and that you know it, and they know it, and everyone knows it. And yet the contracts still get signed and people still do the work. And then the work is done like at, you know, medium to poor quality because they want your building to fall down, because they want your country to fail. Because anyway, it's a big problem. And it's unfortunately, it's an issue of cheap labor in a lot of sense. You know, black market and things like that. And people want their cheap labor and they want to pay less, and they want to pay less taxes. And then you end up hiring your enemies and paying your enemies to work for you, which is
not a good idea.
Horrible.
الناس تتمنى انها ترجع تشوف اسرائيل، لكن تعتقد في داخلها ان اسرائيل مش راح تسمح. الشعب الفلسطيني في غزة ايضا هو بحاجة الى اموال وفلوس اكثر، لانه الراتب في اسرائيل والعمل في اسرائيل مجزي جدا يعني.
Okay, so working in Israel
Wait
was
a
good.
second. Let's just talk about this for a second. Now I can't help but feel sympathetic for this man who's giving this interview, right? Like, he just gave an interview, and we're essentially toward the end of it, in which he talked about how Hamas is really bad and how they've done nothing good for the Gazans, and how everyone wishes they could work in Israel, and the money in Israel was so good, and now everyone's poor. Where was this sentiment 2 years ago? Where was the population of people screaming, we want to get rid of Hamas, take them out of here? Where were people coughing up our hostages and going, just take these people back? All we want is peace with you, and we want our jobs back, and we want our homes to be safe. Where were those people? So I know partially the answer is that it is next to impossible to stand up to Hamas, and that Hamas is scary. But the other answer to the question is that there was an excitement around attacking Israel. Everyone was hoping that it would be a successful attack. Gaza was cheering in the streets when our hostages were paraded through there. They helped to hide our innocent victims. And it's two sides of a coin. And Isha, we talk about this a lot, you know, how when Israel is weak, everyone is excited about destroying us. And when Israel is strong, it's like, oh, Israel's so great, we wish that we could work with Israel. And we have to know who it is who lives next to us or amongst us. And we also have to know how to operate around here. And we also have to know that even for those people who truly are anti-Hamas, or, you know, Hamas ideology. I don't want to say Hamas because Hamas could be anything. It could be you could name it anything and it would be the same ideology. So the Hamas organization, Hamas Incorporated, is not the problem. The problem is the ideology against the Jewish people and the thought that there is some potential for destroying the Jewish state and thwarting us here in this region.
No doubt about it. Jihadism was very popular. It is very popular in Gaza. A lot of people voted for Hamas. They supported Hamas. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And there's also no doubt that there's people who are against it.
Right. And those people, when we are not strong, those
right,
people are hurt very badly.
Right, exactly. That's the missing component of it all. We could talk all day long about if the Arabs are this or Arabs are that. If you rule with a strong hand, you suppress the jihadist inclination, and you give decent people a chance to live and to work, and you make sure you cannot ask for compliance. You cannot hope for loyalty. You have to assert it and demand it, and that's the way of the Middle East. I want to thank Marcel for the super sticker. and the super chat. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you so
Your
much.
support is appreciated, and blessings right back to you. And I want to tell you folks that that if you want to see the land of Israel renovated, beautified, you want to buy tractors for farmers, you want to see holy places holified, we're doing that here at Yishai Fleischer TV. And we're going to have a new website up very soon. But right now, it's fightforisrael.org, fightforisrael.org. Your blessings are a blessing. And so we ask you for your support if you want to see this land of Israel flourish with strength, with godly strength. Also, buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. And who was that just now who became a member?
Dr. Nedloff.
Dr. Nedloff.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
God bless you. Thank you very much. And buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. Okay.
And I also want to say, Yishai, that if people want to wear their pride on their sleeve, they can do that literally by going to our YouTube store. Just check out Yishai Fleischer TV and go to the store tab, and we have lots of cool stuff for you, so you can show people exactly what you think.
Did you see when we went and visited Eric G? And did you see the hat that he had? Did you see the indigenous Judean hat, Malka?
It was awesome.
That was awesome. All right, let's keep going with Gaza.
ברור ואין ממש אופק, יש תושבים בעזה, בדומה למי ששוחח איתנו, שיעזבו את ביתם ברגע שיוכלו. פתיחת מעבר רפיח אמורה לכאורה להקל על כך, אבל במציאות זה יותר מורכב.
أنا واحد من الناس بدي أطلع من غزة. كيف أطلع؟ كيف ممكن أطلع؟ حد يعطيني طريق. كيف
These people want to leave.
Right.
They want to leave. Remember, I'll never forget the most important video that I played on the show was like, it was like a year and a half ago. It was like a Gazan. He was like, Iftah al-bab, open the door. He's just like, open the door.
Yeah, and we will walk right out.
Oh my gosh. Look at these young people. They want a life. They want an opportunity.
And this whole region should be able to take them in with no problem. It is giant. It is a giant region with oodles and oodles of space. This should be no problem.
I agree with that. Let's keep going.
أنا مش قادر أطلع من غزة، سنتين ونص فتحت الباب، أنا ما بدي أضل.
אבל עד לעזיבה מתברר שבעזה יש מי שנהנה, שימו לב, ממוזיקה ישראלית.
أتذكر برضه في طفولتي كنا نحضر كثير من المسلسلات اليهودية أو الشراكة ما بين اليهود والعرب، مثل مطعم أبوامي، مثل مسلسل جيران وأسكن ليمون. بس للأسف ما بعد الانتفاضة وما بعد حكم حماس توقفت كل هذه الأمور.
מאז טבח 7 באוקטובר, רצועת עזה הרוסה ובישראל הפצעים עדיין פתוחים. הצלקות האלה לא יגלידו לעולם. התוכנית של טראמפ אומנם נכנסה לשלב ב', וחלד ששוחח איתנו טוען שהקול שלו מייצג גם אחרים, לפחות יותר ממה שנדמה. אבל כל עוד חמאס בתמונה בצורה כזו או אחרת, לא נראה שמשהו ישתנה, לא בעבורנו הישראלים, וגם לא בעבור העזתים.
The only way to have Gaza be a normal place is for Israel to control it. This whole thing that we're dealing with is a big, fat waste of time. It's just a sham. Nothing's going to come out of it, nothing good. If anything, it's going to lead to more people suffering for a long time, things not getting cleaned up, because nobody's going to care about this land like we're going to care about it. Or it's going to allow the next group of jihadis to rise up again, and here we go again, and they're going to build tunnels and all this kind of stuff. It's just
this is a horrible precedent, Yishai, to bring foreign troops onto the land of Israel to do some kind of controlling of something. Why are foreign troops controlling anything here? Why are we bringing in soldiers from other countries to hold guns over here? I'm very much against it.
Absolutely should be.